high-end fall decor from Dollar Tree? Yeah, betcha! I got these amazing fall pieces from Dollar Tree, and we're gonna whip them up, shake them up, and transform them into high-end fall decor. Let's get our DIY on.
This first Dollar Tree fall DIY, you're just going to need a set of their wire wreath forms and some of their grasses. I went with the fluffy pink ones, some nice textural purple ones, and some grass, and one stem of their fake wheat. And you're just going to want to clip those down so that you end up with a bit of a long stem. You can always clip them down later on if you need. You can use scissors to do this, but personally I just find it easier to use a pair of wire clippers. You're going to want to clip all of the individual pieces of grasses and plumes down to individual stems so that you can apply them later on to the wreath form. To attach our grasses to our wreath form, we're going to use some zip ties. So I just went with some small zip ties, and then I also just had a few extra large ones to attach the larger bundles. You're going to want to take your pieces of grass, your stems of grass, and you're going to want to make a bundle. So just arrange them nicely. You can always rearrange later when you have them attached to the form, but you just sort of want to work the colors and put different textures together, different grasses together, and lay them out into nice, well-organized bundles. Have your bundles formed, you're just going to want to take one of your zip ties, put it around it, put it through the slot, and pull it tight. And this way your bundle will stay together. And once you have that nice tight and secure, just clip off the ends. And you're going to want to repeat this process 2-3 more times. You have your bundles made and secured with the zip ties. You're going to want to arrange them on the wire wreath form, and then using another zip tie, attach the bundle one at a time to the wreath form. And then once you have them arranged, you can sort of rearrange the flowers a bit. The nice thing about the zip ties is you can slide them up and down if you need to, so that you get everything exactly where you want it. Bundles will cover the other stems, but at the bottom you'll be left with the last bundle's wire stems. So to cover that up, you're just going to want to use a little bit of hot glue and some twine and wrap the stems around with the twine. Now I went thicker, closer to the base of the stems, and then as I worked my way to the wire frame, I went thinner, less bulky with the twine so that it would sort of meld nicely into the wire frame and just look a little bit more purposeful and elegant. I attached a twine hoop to the top underneath the grasses so that I would have a way to hang it, and there you have it. I just think that this fall wreath looks so elegant and simple, a little boho. I really like it, but let me know what you think in the comments below. For this next fall DIY, you're going to need one of those pumpkin-shaped jars from Dollar Tree that has a lid. You're going to need a stem of their fall leaves, although you only need one of the leaves, and a piece of branch for the stem. This step is completely optional, but I decided to paint the leaves copper. Now, you can use copper chalk paint, you could use just the plain spray paint in copper antique, or you could use the hammered copper spray paint, which is what I went with because I happen to have it on hand. As I was using the hammered copper spray paint, I decided to spray the lid as well to give it a little added texture, and then I sprayed the leaf, and then using hot glue gun and some hot glue, I glued down the leaf and that little piece of wood for the stem. Okay, now you could stop here and just fill it with candy or put in a tea light, but I decided to get some beeswax from Amazon, this into a candle. To start, I filled my jar twice with the beeswax because that would give me the right amount to melt. And then I dumped that into my double boiler, melted the beeswax down to 160 and then left it 150, and then slowly poured the wax into the glass jar until it was full. Grabbing a toothpick, once everything had dried a little bit, poke some holes into it around the wick to let any of the air bubbles out, and then voila, it was done. Okay, this next DIY is based on those signs you're constantly finding at Michael's that they charge an arm and a leg for. All you're going to need is Dollar Tree's faux charcuterie board. You're going to want to remove the 3D pumpkin, and then you're going to want to take a bit of sandpaper and sand away all of that glitter and the word thankful. And then once you have that all sanded away and cleared up, you're going to want to use some chalk paint. Now I went in with my favorite milk jug chalk paint, but you could really use any chalk paint color you wanted for this sign. I just wanted it to be a lighter colored background. And you're going to want to give this a couple of coats just to make sure that all of the lettering underneath is completely covered up. And then you're just going to want to let this dry overnight. Okay, for the Cricut part of this, I went with Make Market orange and brown vinyl and Oracle in sort of a craft per color. Not gonna lie, did not love the Oracle vinyl, really like the Make Market, but unfortunately Make Market does not make it in this color. On the vinyl, I just cut out a bunch of fall words, things that I love about fall, and I did it in all the different colors, with the one about pumpkin pie being in the orange. The rest were in the craft color and the brown. Just using some transfer tape and some Cricut tools, applied the words to the board. Finish it all off, I just used some twine to wrap around the handle of the charcuterie board, and then I wrapped about 5 or 6 strands around the bottom of the board. And there you have it, a sign that you would pay a whole lot more for at Michael's, that's for sure. Have you ever looked at those wreath forms at Dollar Tree and wondered what you were going to do with that? Well, today I have the answer for you. You're going to need some twine, hot glue, and the wreath form, and a pair of scissors. And then you're just going to attach the twine to the leaf form using a small dab of hot glue. And then you're just going to wrap that twine around the entire edge of the leaf form. It's easier to do if you just cut a piece of the twine off and then wrap it around, so you are going to need to reattach more twine. But this is just as easy as it was to start it. You just need to put a little dab of hot glue, attach the twine, and continue wrapping around the form. Once you have the entire leaf form wrapped on the outside with the twine, you're going to want to do the center parts of the leaf form. Again, you just add the twine with a little dab of hot glue and wrap it around till you get to the end. Attach it with another dab of hot glue, and then go to the next part and continue doing that. The backing of each of the leaves, I went with some lace, some felt, and some decorative burlap ribbon, and I attached that using my hot glue gun. So just put a few dabs at the top of the leaf on the back side, the side you don't want to see, and then lay your cloth on top. Then you're going to want to just apply a few more dabs of hot glue as you go, and then lay the cloth down flatly on top of it, smoothing it out and continuing until you've got the whole leaf covered. Then using a pair of scissors, you're going to want to cut away any of the excess fabric, and then I found it easier to cut slits where the leaves sort of indented, and then flipped it around and cut the cloth off with a pair of scissors from the back side. Here's the finished look. Tell me, do you like it? Okay, for this last Dollar Tree fall DIY, we're gonna jazz up some of their colorful, slightly tacky plastic pumpkins. So you're just gonna wanna pop those tags off, just pull them out, they come out quite easily. Just careful not to rip it, and remove each of the stems. Using a bit of chalk paint spray paint, I used both white and cream. Give those pumpkins a couple of coats of the spray paint. Then you're going to need some Art Minds antiquing wax and a little bit of chalk paint, Art Minds chalk paint in white. Using a thin paintbrush, apply the Art Minds antiquing wax to each of the ribs of the pumpkin. Using a dry cloth, just wipe that antiquing wax away. Now, you might find that there's some areas where you apply a little bit too much of the antiquing wax. No biggie. Just grab yourself a paintbrush, a little bit of that white Art Minds chalk paint, and apply it to the areas that are sort of bulbous on the pumpkin, and then again wipe that down with the cloth, but you want to leave the antiquing wax in the ridges. Then apply a bit of that white paint to the stems that we spray painted copper or painted brown, and then just apply it using your fingers back to the pumpkin, and don't worry about the smudging, it'll give it that distressed look.
Well, that's it for today's Dollar Tree Fall DIYs. If you enjoyed those, make sure that you subscribe, give me a thumbs up. If you hit the notification bell, it lets you know the next time I upload. Oh, and you might enjoy these.